Hello everyone, welcome to the track walkthrough for Misano. We'll do the same thing as usual, going first lap inside the car, then up from the outside so you could have a better view for the line. And after that we'll go corner to corner to explain everything that we need to know for this track. So the lap time was done on hot lap with a 20-degree track air temperature, and the lap was a 32.9. So let's start this lap, and while we go to this lap, take a look at the throttle input, brake input, the steering input, all of that. Now we'll go back, check it from the outside view so I have a better. So now take a look at how much track that I could cut here. So Misano is one of those tracks that you need to cut as much as possible to get a fast time. So keep an eye on those. It's not sounding for you?
Yeah, I can't hear it myself, and somebody else mentioned it also.
Might be because the screen. I'm sharing my screen, not the game. So I'll try with the other one.
If you stream your screen instead of the game for copyright reasons, they won't let you use any audio.
Let me know if it's working. This. Did you hear the car?
Loud and clear now.
Okay. You want to see the one from the inside back?
We can look at it later. We'll go corner by corner for right now.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll check the lap from the outside, and then we'll go corner to corner. We'll get the sound for that. back at the start. Now we'll go corner to corner. So while going to corner, I will um, tell you what I'm using for braking reference, but this is specific to me, my field of view, my car, and for you it will be somewhere around that. You could play a little bit, maybe less or more, but it's car dependent field of view and playing in VR, so it will be different from a flat screen depending if you're playing on chase cam, on hood cam. All those could change what you are going to use for your braking marker for your car, your type of driving, all that. Coming to turn one. Use as much track as possible, like I said, so you want to open the corner as much as possible. So you go all the way to the left. Just don't hit the wall. You try to go close and don't hit it. If I go for this side, my braking reference for that will be like between the 150 meter break. If we go just a little bit before. Here, I'm getting like almost half of it just from the inside. If you look from the outside, it might be close to that too. Yeah, like halfway between those two posts. Here Misano is good, so for those boards you always have that white line, and there's one on the other side too, so even the board could get destroyed, the line will still be there, and you still have the one on the outside. You have a line on both sides, and the line are on this one. It's not easy to see right now, but you also have the ambulance not too far. You have a couple things. You have good marker from here. Other place in the track, the white line are just way more visible, but since here it's pretty flat, the track is a little bit harder to see at this point, but then you can see it. But this will be a little bit late for the braking. So again, you try to brake with the steering as much as possible, but I already start to like turn the car a bit, then straighten up, and then I will do the corner. So for this corner, pretty much all the car could hit those two curves with no problem. They are not too bad to hit, so you want to cut and get your right wheel like close to the grass. I think the track limit will, like here will be hard to invalidate the lap, and you'll need to be in the grass and probably lose time. So I guess in here, the track limit are the end of the curve.
Mikael, even with a Ferrari, it's okay?
Should be, but it's also
Okay.
to try. Those are not too aggressive. There's one on the next corner that you don't want to touch, but those one should be able to do it. When I drive a long time ago, I was driving the Ferrari, but not the Roki one that you guys use. I was driving the Evo,
Okay.
and
All right, we'll check it out.
I was able to edit those two. So you want to cut and see. So I did those two, and since every time we have two corners that are really quick, one after the other, you don't want to exit far. Like on this case on the left, you don't want to go on all the way up to the curve on the left. You want to stay middle or even less. Like this one, I'm even a little bit more on the right, so I compromise this exit here from corner one to have a better exit on the next one, because after you get to turn two, so you have this turn two, but you'll be flat until you get turn 3 and 4, until you get here. So it's a long way before you get brakes, so you want to get the best exit as possible in turn 2, so you could be flat until turn 4. And in turn 2, what I will do, I'll show you right now with the cam. I hit the first one, the first sausage, but I don't hit the second one. I want to have my tire like here, just before the sausage curve. the left tire. I don't want to hit the second one. It just we are there that one, but the first one is like turn one. It should be okay to hit it. So see, we'll go on the first one like half of it, because if I go more than that, I will have to hit the second one as well. If I go there, I will be just after the second one. See, I'm just on the tip of it. That's what you want. You don't want to go on it because it will just bounce the car. Even with the MG here, it could bounce me, and I will just lose all my time until turn 4. And then from here, you'll be flat until turn 4. But your line is very important to be able to do it flat. So you try to stay as much left as possible here. Exit like middle of it. Bring the car a bit on the left. But what's going to help a lot here is this cut here. You cut a lot. See? I'm on the white line, but I think you could even be more. If you touch like the grass, you'll be track cut. You could have a track cut here, but you could also, you see how much you could cut. That's why we could get flat until turn 4. Just because we cut that much here, and on the exit, you're gonna use everything that you could. So that's why we could stay flat. So I'm just letting the car go slowly. I'll use the curve, go on it. Like I passed 4 wheel was over the white line here. The lap is still valid, so it's the curve will be your track limit here, the end of the curve. So use it as your advantage to be able to carry all that speed until your next corner that's just ahead of us. So we'll go back that first section, first corner. Any question on this first section? Okay, let's continue. So coming up to turn 4, what's my braking reference is the end of the color painted that you have on the side. There you have the blue, the red, where the grass coming, this part here. That will be my reference for my braking point. Let's go slowly and see. See, it's just on the tip of my hood here. I'm starting to brake. Still not 100% right now, but that's what I'm using. And I will brake on the curb. It's dry, I could use it. Just brake a straight line here. We have a nice straight. Gonna brake hard. Already start to turn the car a bit, and you want to put your right wheels over the curb, like even more. You go on the red, it's there, just to cut as much as possible, like here. See, if we go up, cutting again, it's Misano, we cut like a lot, and it's like every corner, so that is how much you want to cut, and you'll see from everywhere on this track. For this small section, I'll just explain it. So you brake for the first one, turn 4, turn 5, you will not brake for turn 5, but you will do a lift. I'll go here. I'm already on the throttle. I'm full throttle. And before I turn a bit, then I'll lift to stay on the right, up the curve, and now see the exit. How much? I didn't even go like half the track here. I'm still like on the right of the track because I did the lift before. I cut a lot of track here. Exit, stay on the track, and from here, since I'm with the quali fuel, I could stay flat for the next one until the end of the straight will be turn 7. So you're here, your card on the right, and now here you want to cut as much, and you want to have your left wheel. Your left wheel could, I think the track cut will be if you have your left wheel like pass, it will touch the grass essentially. So it will be probably the first curve on the right, but you want to cut. So you want to have your left wheel on this smooth red paint over those two set of curves that are here. Go slowly, wheels are there, still flat, and again on exit you use everything, but this right here could be a bit much for certain car. Certain car will not love to exit this that much wide here, because I'm gonna hit this one a bit. See, I'm gonna roll on the like more than the tip of it, so some car will not like this at all. You could jump your car and it's really rough from this part, and this is like limit. If you cross the first part of the curve with your left tire, like I only have like a couple inches. If I pass there, the lap will be invalidated. So this is fine for, but I will not do this in the like mid-engine Ferrari and all those cars.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Could I see turn 5 again? Because I personally always struggle getting the car to the right when trying to make that transition.
Yeah.
So when I do 5 to 6, then I either have to do this really big lift in 5 and it sucks, or it doesn't turn.
Yeah, we'll go back. Because this section, that slow section, turn 4, 5, 6 is technical, and it also crucial the exit of 6 to get the speed for the straight before the turn 7. Because if you miss there, Davian could tell you a little bit about it, how much time you could lose here, and I have a good replay for that after that. Let's go back slowly. So first one is easy, straight and brake in straight line, easy, cut as much track as possible here. This is the easy part of this section, but this will be the hard part. So you have to go, you don't need to go all the way up to the curve here, but what you will need to do is do a lift like here. And you do a lift, but the line is also important. If you don't do the line properly here, it will cause the car to go too much on the left. So you need to cut a lot here. Like, see how much cut I'm doing here? I want to exit, like I'm using the white triangle at the end of the curve to like gauge in line from the inside. I want to put I know I want to exit on that triangle here and stay there. So you do a lift, you could do a little bit bigger lift to try to stay here. And some car here for the next one, for turn 6, like right here, let's go. I want to see full speed. I want just to listen to the gear what I did. It was like a normal shifting, but for the exit of 6, so you could do a lift before and keep the car on the right, and then you could do a short shift for 6 if you're carrying too much speed. Since I did the line like pretty good here and I was all the way up to the right already, so I'm prepared for exit of 6, I was able to just carry that speed and shift normally. But sometimes if I'm not like here, I'll be a little bit more on the left. I'll do a short shift between 2 and 3 for this car, or just like a tiny lift just to get the grip on the front and back. So there's a couple of ways to do it. So you need to try what your car, what your setup will do.
Can we do one more pass from inside the car at full speed from the exit of 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to see. I want to see your hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rotation from the rear end there.
And he was holding it too. I have never gotten that much rotation out of the front.
No, that's what I was just looking at is how much rotation he got and how I can never place my car in that exit where he's placing it.
All the noise from the tires. He's literally spinning the tires all the way through 4, 5, and 6.
When you were actually driving it, was the traction control going off?
Yeah.
Most
Okay.
definitely. You can't see it now because we're watching a replay.
Yeah, it was going off. It was going off a lot, like between 4 and 5. Yeah, like here, because I'm still full throttle already. So this part here
It helps because you're allowing the car to spin the tires and then you lift, they grab, and then it kind of changes direction just before you start to turn left again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always struggle on that 5-6 crossover. Either I'm too slow or I'm too fast and the car just runs wide, and so I just get screwed there every time.
Yeah. See, with the MG, I could go a little bit wider than what I was doing like before in McLaren and Ferrari because it could hit those curves, but just hitting those curves in front of me, the black and yellow one with other car will be really hard on the car and just making you jump. So you might need to do a small lift on 6 to not hit those curves. Like right now I could hit it, it's fine with the car, but other car I have to avoid it like almost at all costs. So it's possible that you need to do a short shift or a lift. I see other replay of that, other replay in Misano that they do a lift and they still run in the 32. So you're not gonna lose a lot if you do a tiny lift or a short shift on the exit of 6.
Okay.
We'll come back to this section after. I just want to show you. I was on also practice with Davin yesterday, and like there's a lot of time that you could gain or lose here. Like I was catching. Since we're there, we'll go right now to that replay and you'll see.
Oh, he's got the music on.
Like it or not?
No, to me it's just boring, that's all.
This is not to pick on Davin, or I already asked and he was fine with it. I asked,
Yep.
This is Zach in front of me too, and even Zach is also a fast driver, and I was catching like 410 on this by the end of the straight, because they both do the same line, they do the same mistake. Maybe not the mistake, maybe the car was not capable of doing it, so it just costs a bunch of time. Maybe you need to lift it a little more because your car can do it, but you will see how much. I think I could almost post both of them by the end of the straight. Sometimes we're just like battled for a little bit, just for
Oh
fun.
yeah, one time you did it. You just straight up freight trained me,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was like, I need to ask you, like, how did you do that?
So keep an eye on the boat car in front of me. Take a look at the line, how much different it is. See, because I sacrificed before, you see how much they seem to be far, like from here. They seem
Both of their cars, you'll see that neither one of them are on throttle the same time you are.
See,
Oh God, no.
I'm
Oh no.
204 right now. Zag is 197. What? I'm 196. So there's a lot of time. I'll try to find the other one that where. Maybe, I don't know if
Yeah,
this
there was
one.
one where you and I were in a couple of sliding area, and like, weird spot where I looked at the right after that session was over, because I was just like, how the fuck did you do that? Because it's a noticeable run, and I'm just like, oh my God. You can't defend against it either, because if you try
Even
and you're
if you
so tight to the inside, you're just screwed.
even if you go on the inside for defense, I was already passed before the braking zone.
Yeah.
So I'll be there in a way. So yeah, there's a lot of time in there, as you could see. Sacrifice the first one to have the best exit on 6. And you can see like we'll play just from a little bit farther, so you'll see how much I will gain, but how much I will like I was. So
Left
that's
that
why.
beamer in the dust.
You know what?
You left that beamer in the dust.
Yeah, you could see on that and probably see it. Let's see, just the exit. We'll go from.
He's right there on your bumper, and then just you're gone.
Yeah, see. It was done. At that point, it's done. So,
Yeah, I saw how fast he was coming, and I didn't even decide to go to the middle because I was like, he's got so much speed that even if I get the braking down early, he can roll up next to me, and it's just exhausting because he's coming so quickly. You're just like, oh fuck.
I was gaining like 410 on it when I was
Yeah.
looking at my delta and on the track. So it was in front, the live one. I was gaining like 410 easily there. So it's a crucial exit. So just practice it, and it's not because they're. It could happen like one time you miss the corner. That's it happened. A mistake will happen, but just Zach and him was running the same line over and over. So after that, he asked me, but you need to try to stay on the right, and then you will get a good exit after that. Now we'll go continue.
It is such a great transition. It's not too funny. It's like we're waiting for our stories to start over.
Okay, turn 7. There's another good braking reference here. It's not. What I'm using is the 100-meter board. You have the paint. Again, will be there. The board gets pretty easy to see when you know where it is after a while. So I'm using the line. I'm not using the board for this one. And it will be just before the board. See, I'm just starting to brake here. So just before the line or the board. And again, I want to use as much as possible. I will have my wheels, right wheels on the green, and I think you could even get your left wheel on past the white line. Yeah, it's past the white line. So the curve is your track limit. Don't go all the way up to the green, but if you want it right here, it's fine to use it. So we're coming pretty fast here. You want to brake as much as possible, like I said every time. I'm gonna brake in a straight line, gonna start turning the car. And this one, you have a fair bit of camber air that you will use to your advantage, because when there's camber you could carry more speed. And you want to put your left wheel like over the curb, even on the red stuff here, concrete, just to grab the front and give you like an extra tiny bit of rotation to there.
Can you get down up against that red portion again? Because I think that literally flattens out. I've actually had a spin because of that. The transition between, the red is flat and the red and white is cambered. So be careful about how much you get up on the red, because it changes. The track is leaning to the left and the red stuff is kind of flat. So it might make it feel weird going over that.
Yep. Let's go here, beyond the brake. Braking R, start to release the brake, get my left tire. See,
I guess he's on it, yeah.
So I find it was okay to get a good lag to cut. So it just seems to my car, so maybe here, and then you back full throttle. You're gonna exit, unwind the wheel because you're back full power. Again, on the exit, you want to use as much as possible. Just don't go over. You could go. This is fine, perfectly fine. You could push a little bit more. Not gonna gain a lot. Sometimes I will exit a little bit more than that. I will be like on the curb, and it will be fine. Will not be a try cut until you go past the curb. Now for the airpin have a couple of different lines that work for different cars that are better or not. So be careful during race that someone might not use the same line as you for this one. This corner have many lines that work, so just be cautious of that while going there, especially in lap 1. You want to be extra careful. So coming to the airpin, I want to be on the left. I'm gonna go right for the airpin. That's like a 2 turn, but just taking as 1 turn. Go all the way left, starting to turn the car. When I get here, it's my braking reference. So what I'm using here is the first part, like the white part, nice triangle for the curve. That's what I'm using for my reference. So when I get up to it, see, I'm just, you could still see the tip on my front of the wood with the wiper. So that's what I'm using for my marker. And what I want to do here, see, this is not the, we go up. This is not the turn.
Let's see a true picture of the corner here.
Yeah.
Not everybody realizes that this is a very weird corner.
So forget the first part where my car is pointing right now. Where's the first turn, that's not a turn. See, my car is already straight. It's already prepared for the braking zone for the actual airplane that's coming right after. So this part, don't count this as a corner. It's just you're there, you prepare, you're gonna go brake, going left, then turn for the actual corner there. So we could start by this so you could see it. So braking here, let the car drift on the left while going down the gear. I don't go all the way up to the curb. You don't want to go there. That's some people will go a little bit more than this. Some people will go this, and for the actual corner that we're going in, some people will take it tighter. You could go on the curb. You could go on the red on the right. It's fine to do it. So there's a couple line here that's fine. So see here, gonna car get, and then I'm gonna turn at the end and go in on the curb. Now I'm starting to get back on throttle. No, I didn't even touch the curb on this one. But some people will use a lot more curb on the right here, and some people will not. So just be careful that this corner is not the best one to do the pass. There's other better plays in Misano. This one could cause. It seems that it will open up the door, but in reality, it's normal line. So both driver need to be careful here. Now let's go back. Okay. Coming here, starting brake. Unwind a little bit the wheel. And then really this is like a little bit of trail braking to some grip, and back on full throttle already to continue to rotate the car on the exit of the corner.
Notice how when he's finished the corner, he's got less steering than he did at Apex. The back end of this car is helping him finish the corner.
Yeah, throttle will help you to turn the car too. So you could turn the car with your wheels, but you will also turn the car with your brake and throttle. So on corner interior, when you brake, and would you have you if you have ever tried to go like really low brake bias, you'll feel the car that's starting to slide on the back, but you want to go a little bit up at that point, and then because while braking you want to like start to drift like a tiny bit, that is just the slip ring angle, so you want to have it start the rotation while braking and then finish it on the throttle on the exit. Let's go full speed. You have
accelerate once those 6, 7, 8 orange barrels are past the middle of your windshield then?
I don't know. I never. They're
Keep going.
there.
Those there?
Keep going. Go back just a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit more, right there.
Yes.
From
so
when they're directly in front of you, if you can see them with another car in front of you, you may miss it.
Yeah.
But you can also look for the big crane that's above. If you look above the orange barrels there, Peter.
Yeah, there's that crane there.
Yeah, you can see that big crane, or it's another scaffold of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never been aware like of those orange to get back on throttle. It just by feel.
It's by feeling. Yeah.
So I feel that the car have the grip and just back full throttle. But it could be used. They are there. They are in the middle. They are in front of you. So depending on your line that you will do, if you use it, it help you. Use it.
It might be a little difficult to see the crane in the dark, though, Peter.
Yes, might be. I don't know if there's a light over there or not.
You might be able to use the yellow crane on the right-hand side once it appears on screen.
That would be true. Good eye, Vincent.
But fuel would probably be helpful too, because you'll probably mostly always be behind a car, and so, like, especially mid-battle, you won't really be able to adjust for the crane. You just need to count.
Yeah, but you
You know,
can tell
Lamborghini is about the size of what that view is.
if you have a
True.
M4, if you have the M4 in front of you, you will not see nothing.
Right, you won't see it. Like by the time you look for it, you'll be past it, and the car in front of you will already be driving away.
Flat, you could cut on it. It's fine. See, tiny bit here. Don't need. You're not gonna gain much by cutting more than that. There's no bump. There's nothing. So it's perfectly fine to use it. The only thing is when you get to here, you don't want to cross too much on the left because you could get a tri-cut. And this one is also flat, but right after this corner, you need to prepare for a corner before the hairpin, which will be which corner is it? 13 and then 14. So you need to prepare for 13 and then the hairpin for which is 14. So what I'm going to do here. See, I don't go on the curve. I don't want to cut on the curve on the right. Stay like middle of the track. You have the dark line here, which is fine. So I don't want to go on the curve. I want to prepare for the next corner, which is important. So what I'm using here for reference, you have a couple of things. You could use the yellow truck on the right. There's also another good thing is when the track is straightening up. So see, there's still some turns here, but when you get to, there's a curve also on the left. When you get to there, you want to start, you have the end of the curve on the right too. So you have a couple of things that you could use, but what's important here, since we're going really fast turning, don't brake in the corner. Brake after you exit the corner, because if you brake before you lock your wheel or something, you're just gonna have a spin here for sure. So it's a really fast corner and tricky one to do. So you want to get on a brake, put in the car as straight as possible, lift the brake, do turn 13, cut as much as possible, and then back full throttle. You want to exit, and this one is easy to get a track cut here. And I think the Misano that you could get like a double cut here. I think you could cut here, and if you cut too much on the turn 14, you could also get another track cut there. So I think it's possible to get like 2 track cut like in almost one corner. So be really careful here to not get too wide. And braking reference will be the white line that is in front of me for the 50-meter board. That will be the braking reference for turn 14. So just continue, get on the brake for the hairpins. I will get on the curb a bit, a lot, trail brake a bit, and then back full throttle to help finish the rotation. And you don't need to go, I'm a little bit wide here. Usually I will not exit that wide. If you go, you still have time, but you need to hurry up for the next section. So let's go back to those two full speed, because they are really tricky to do. Is there any question on those two corner, 13 and 14? Okay, let's continue to the last section of the track, which will be last two corner. So from here, after you get to the hairpin, you want to go, you exit on the left, try to not go too much, and because you want to bring back the car on the right, and the corner are not too far apart, so you want to get as much right as possible that you could do, because in quality fuel you could do 15 flat if your line is correct. During the race with the fuel on board, you might need to do a tiny lift here, so it will depend on your line a lot here, like we did for turn 5 and 6. So line is really important to be able to do 15 flat. So let's go slowly and check the line. Let's watch it full speed, that lift here. You'll see how small it is. This is not even like to lose speed, it's just like lifting like 20%. It's just to give the front an extra grip on it, so I could do the turn well without sliding and going too wide on the exit of 15. So I'm not.
It's all about the weight shift, right?
Yeah, it's not even to lose speed. You'll see I'm not losing speed there. So it happened really quickly.
I watched the kilometers an hour, and it goes from 159. It pauses and it goes to 162.
It just prevents like a slide a bit. But if I didn't exit that wide on the turn 14, I could have stayed more like not middle, maybe close to it. I could go on the curve here, more on the green, so I'll have like a better enter for turn 15 and could stay flat all the way until 16. But I did tiny lift because I couldn't go as much right as was that I would like to do. So it's still possible, but if you miss it a little bit, just do a tiny lift and you'll be fine, and you will not lose a ton of speed here. So those two, you could cut a bit on it. Those two, so I'll say like half of it. See, I'm probably like half on it. So it will depend on your car. It's not even half, just clipping the maybe a little bit of half. So they're fine to use. And again, here it's easy to get. If you're trying to do it flat all the time, it's easy to get too wide here and get track cut or warning. So be careful on this exit. A lot of exit of Misano, since they give us so much liberty than other track, it's easy to want to push more to get that extra 10 or 2, but it could also be track cut during the race, so just be careful on that. Coming to the last corner, what I'm using for my reference will be, again, the board. You have a 50 meter board, but you have a triangle if the board's not there, which could happen easily on this one. You have the triangle on the road. That's where I'm going to start my braking. See, right at the tip, when the tip comes to the hood, for me that's my braking reference. So again, this corner is similar to turn 8. So there's some camber on this corner. So you want to take advantage of that. You want to put your wheels like here. You'll see on this lap, I think I hit those with the MG. I'm fine with it with this car because it could just heat curve, but mid-engine, if you hit the yellow and black, it could unsettle the car a bit. Same thing on the exit here. You don't really want to touch those. I went over it on this lap. Pretty sure I hit some of them, like this one, maybe the next one too. For me it was fine because the car could do it, but other car will not like to hit any of those 5 black and yellow curve that you see right there. So coming in, braking. Yeah. Lift early to brake, let goes. See, I'm on it, pretty sure. Yeah, or just clip it. But yeah, just clip the thing. If you do that, other car is going to work too. So again, white line is not the track limit for Misano. It's the first part of the curve. So every time you could use it, use it. So same thing on the exit. I use a fair bit of that, but this could unsettle some car. This will be a bit much.
Mid-engine cars bottom out there really badly.
Yeah. Yeah, especially mid-engineer will not like this at all. So you want to be like a foot just before this sausage curb. Yeah, let's take a look. Full speed and take a look at the last corner. Because there's so much camber and there's a lot, it seems to have a lot of grip there. How early I will be back on throttle. Is there any question on any part of the track?
You are running the Evo car, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I could see by the tail end of the car. In either case, remember guys, unfortunately the Mercedes has enough torque to really light the tires up in the back, so that's kind of where he's getting some of the rotation out of the rear of the car.
I was going to ask, in the first sequence of corners, I know the Mercedes is better on curbs than most. The turn 1 and turn 2 sausages, can those still be taken in the Ferrari?
Turn 1, yes. Turn 2, just the first one.
It also depends on how you set up the bump stops, because if you look at the setup for the bump stops in the Ferrari, I think they read 0, which means the car is locked down on the bump stops themselves. To make it less harsh and to not send the car skyward, you might try going about 2 clicks off the bump stops in the front.
Yeah, it could be a setup thing too, but usually those two you could hit it, but even in the AMG, I hit the first one, but I want to avoid this one at all costs because it still just jumped me. So I want to put my tire like on the square thing there.
Plus, it's all about positioning too. If you don't hit the second one, you're not too far inside for this exit. You're losing speed if you're too far inside. If you just clip the first one and miss the second one, it kind of puts you middle track instead of left of center.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hey, Michael.
Yep.
Can you free cam over to the pit lane exit?
Oh God, yes.
I'll do the pit. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So coming in the pit, you have here. You will need to brake to make the corner here in the pit. So you need to brake before. I don't really know. I think it's
Where's
somewhere.
the line?
Mm-hmm.
Where's pit lane line?
Just around the corner, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's around the corner.
Yeah. So what I do, I will
It's around
brake
the corner.
here. I'll brake here, get back on throttle to finish the corner. Still on throttle until I get to like this building on the left will be on my windshield. So when I get to this building, like around here, I'll get back on the brake to get to here. So if the board's not there, it's the end of the yellow fence that you have there, because it could easily be taken out for your pit entry. And for pit exit,
Let's go skyward first to show the whole thing.
No, let him do this part.
Pit exit is really long. This is not the pit exit. Even though you see the light here, you see a line, this is not the pit exit. You have to continue.
Yeah, I found that one out the hard way.
This is not the pit exit. Here,
No.
not the first one. This is the pit exit. So be careful. It's a really long one, and
Now, can you go up and look at where the racing surface is? Yeah.
so it is far. Your pit is way over there, and it's the last line here.
And then see where they. Well, go back
Where
up.
they merge. Yeah.
Where they merge, right?
To
Because
the left.
this is what people don't ever pay attention to in House of
Oh
Practice.
yeah.
And like, I don't know if folks notice, but like, I'm normally sitting on the exit of the pit lane often when I'm leaving. And I'm looking at cars as they're coming up the mini map, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to see where I can time it so that I can jump on the throttle and beat them or get to them as they get down to coming out of turn 3. Because I need to know in the race I'm going to be moving a little bit more quickly. So after I kind of get my car all dialed in, I start to kind of pace cars coming out of there, and I'll wait until there's a car like coming through the final sector, and then just leave like I'm leaving a pit stop and try to see if I can get down there and see where I come out. Because that'll help me know if I'm in any sort of immediate risk when I come out, because they blend together like that. And so if I end out ahead of somebody, I need to know without looking in my mirror that there's going to be a car running up running up behind me, and just automatically drive it out. Or if there's a car that's going to be on my right side as I'm coming over, they may not be paying attention because they could be in a battle, or just they could be shitty or something. And so I need to know, like, hey, I should look out for the whatever car is there and just let them slot in front of me so that I don't get tangled up in there.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. You get on a racing line pretty much at the exit. So if it's during the
And you're going
race,
slow,
mhm,
so slow, cold tires, all the gibberish we talk about, right?
yeah,
But a lot of folks like just don't ever think about it. So they come out, and then whatever position they're battling for, they get all tangled up, or like they're a lap down and there's a leader coming, or fill in the blank, right? It could really make their life really hard.
The
yeah,
worst of it is when they get a bad exit out of one, they make a mistake and don't get turn 2 just right, and then they run really wide through 3. Let's
mhm,
get down a little closer and find out where that white line ends. See where the white line ends, guys? That's their free space all the way to the end. Right where the yellow and the purple and the white come together there, just before the left curb. Don't run into people here on the outside of turn 3.
It's claggy. It's also
That's
shit grip
yeah,
too.
it's a big no-no here. This is their exit free space.
Yep.
And for those of you exiting the pits, you need to use the left edge of the track all the way down into turn 4
yeah,
so that you don't become your own hazard.
yeah. They have the right to
Remember,
be
you're
there.
allowed the left side of the track for a reason. That's where the white line is, and that's about where you only want to go. Don't cross over because somebody, quote unquote, faster is coming.
Right.
Stay on the left side the whole way down into turn 4.
Yeah, you want to be realistic too, because like just because you're on the right doesn't mean the person on the track is smart or aware or did the corner correctly. And so you'll need to make a decision. Right? Just don't jump on the brakes coming out of here or something like that. Because if there's a car coming behind you, leaving behind you, and they're trying to roll up the corner, and you're just sitting there, then it's just you're fucked. Right? So just kind of feed into traffic. Don't just go crazy.
Please, please, please practice the pit lane here. It is very weird.
You lose a ton of time here on pit lane because the pit lane line is so late, and it's also late on the other side. So what people end up doing is they end up braking too early for the entry and losing a big ton of time. Then their stop's normally shitty because elevator stop's always shitty, and then their pit lane exit is really really slow. So they either have to wait a really long time, or they don't think about the fact that the line's really late and they get off the limiter or shift up way too early, and they give themselves the dumbest penalty because they could have just sat on the limiter and waited to drive down, but they're like, oh, I don't know which line it is, and they just pull the paddle, and it's like, oh great.
Any other question?
Oh, I've got some more.
Go.
I'm sure folks are probably thinking like setups for passing or following cars, um, especially around here. This track is one of those tracks that is a really high speed to low speed. Like there's a pattern of high speed to low speed over and over again, right? Coming from 16 into 1, high speed to medium-ish speed. 3 into 4 is medium speed to low speed. 6 into 8 is medium-ish speed to medium-ish speed. Going into 14 is fucking high warp speed, coming from 11, 12, and 13. So, a lot of places that I pay attention is, at least for me personally, I see this as more of a really exit-oriented track for most places than like trying to get people under brakes. But like that's a big thing for me most of the time is I want to get to pass people where it's easy for me rather than forcing it where it's hard. And in this track, because a lot of the corners get tighter and harder the closer you get to the apex, it's harder to get people like on 9 and 10. You can do it, but like I prefer to get you on the run out of 6, which is why I wanted to know how Michael did it, because if it happened to me, I can do it to somebody else. I want to try to get people like out of 8, right, rather than into 8. I could do it into 8, yeah, sure, but I have to have gotten a good run on the other side. I want to try to get people maybe in the sequence coming out of 14, 15, and 16, where they're like offline and unstable rather than beating them to the apex of 14, just because it's so tight and it's hard to see and all these other things, right? So I'd highly advise battling some folks and really get a sense for kind of where some of those areas are, because there's a lot of places where you can really just follow a car, let them fuck up their own line, and that's how you pass them, rather than having to like exceed the speed that you're capable of going.
One of the things you said earlier too, Davin, is that the change in the change of the approach to the apex. These corners are not really driven, quote unquote, to the angle that they actually are. Perfect example is the exit of 4. It's quite a tight corner, and then you go into 5, and you have to stay very tight. You can even see the line here right above at the top of the screen. The actual line coming out of 5 is not really wide and then transition to 6. It comes out and then it just straight lines down what would now be the left side of the track versus going all the way to the right, which is the outside of the particular corner. So remember, this is a very good, excellent job, or it's a very good track for exit passing.
Mm-hmm.
Is knowing when you can get on the throttle as earlier than the guy ahead of you, managing your exit speed and or grip, and not trying to quote unquote outrun them down the straightaway, but you have gotten the advantage by being on the power before them. That's the difference in these cars, is when the driver can get the most power down as early as possible.
Yeah.
Remember, the BOP here in ACC is very, very similar for all the cars. For the most part, you will not drag race somebody in the same car. Like if you're in a Mercedes and you're with a Mercedes, you're not going to drive any faster than them because the Mercedes are exactly the same. Now, there's a slight difference between the Ferrari and the Mercedes, or the Lamborghini and the Mercedes, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, every one of these cars accelerates the same. It's when you're able to accelerate and get the good exit and pull the draft down the straightaway out of 6 here to get down into 7. You should like he just showed us how to do turn 6
Yeah.
correctly.
Yep.
And well, not just correctly, but he did it well.
Yeah.
And he got Davin and another car down that straightaway.
Yep.
And it wasn't the draft that did it. It was when he got back on throttle and how much grip he was using with the proper approach in middle and out of the corner.
This is a track where a lot of cars get woed up into one another, and so like where you can see that coming will save you a lot of pain, especially like on the starts, right? Like you see a lot of cars in 4, 5, 6, they all bunch together because they're not being patient, they die. Into 8, they get patient, they die, or they get impatient, they die. Into 10, they get impatient, they die. And so where you can woe up and really plan for a good exit rather than just running in with the chickens all together, it'll save you a lot of pain.
Running in with the chickens, the next t-shirt.
Yeah.
I see a lot of muted mics. Are you guys talking to yourselves or what?
No, sir. I'm just trying to pay attention. That's the difficult part for me.
I'm looking for the corner names before I ask my question so I don't get yelled at.
Track map above the social channel, sir.
Good. I'd also say for back marker passing, same thing, right? The exits here are long enough that, 6, 7, 8, perfect. 10 into 14, well, the beginning of 10, like coming out of 10, perfect. Coming out of 16, perfect, right? They're really, really, really long. And so it gives you plenty of time to just like accelerate somewhat slowly, and so a quick car that's on the line driven quickly will just drive right by you. Like they won't even think about it. But I'm constantly telling people give cars room to do stuff. So like, don't do it going into 1. That's dumb. Don't do it going into 4. That's dumb. Don't do it going into 8. That's dumb. Don't go it going into 10. That's dumb. Don't
But
do it going into
also,
14. That's dumb.
being the faster car, you have to realize you're coming up on a back marker, slower car, somebody
Yeah.
who has just come out of the pits,
Yeah.
and make the good decision to be patient.
Yeah. So don't just dive a car that you just saw coming out of the pits going into 4. That's probably dumb, right? Like things like that will save your races, or make it easier if you want to stay online and not get offline. So I don't have to yell at you about that, right? There's a lot of places on here where you can just literally slowly accelerate, and cars will just go around you, and you can just continue your race just fine.
See, to me, what's crazy is that there is a total of 11 of us in here right now. 3 of which are, well, 2 are coaches. 1 is the owner. Where is everybody else in rookies? Because I know nobody in rookies is fast enough not to need a walkthrough.
Well, it's not really the need of the walkthrough. Basically, it's unfortunately some people don't have the time, which I can understand. And if you'll notice, we have the same names for those who do have the time and try their best to be better and attend and understand the differences and the subtleties of the race and stuff like that. Yes, we do have rookies and we do have, outside lives and stuff like that. We all want to try and get better, but unfortunately, some of us just have very limited time for doing these things. I'm not going to blame anybody for not trying, but it really comes down to overall.
No, and I understand that, but at the same time, is these 11 people that are here are the same ones that are also active on the rookies chat, asking questions, helping, all that.
Pretty close. Like I can just see the icons. So I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to most of you. And yep, pretty close.
Yeah, well, we're gonna graduate on time, okay? I'm not trying to be a super senior in rookies.
Are we talking age? Because that ain't funny.
Right. But still, like the thing about Misano that is a nice track is that it's a good track to battle on, that you can be really patient and just wait for the right time. You don't need to be really, really aggressive around here. You can just drive well, and you'll have a run on a lot of people. And especially if you get the complexes together well, you get boatloads of time on people on throttle. So you can give yourself the benefit of patience and not just kill yourself. You end up ahead of a lot of folks. So.
Yeah, enjoy this one. Enjoy this one with the track as wide as this one is, because next one you cannot make mistake.
I did that on purpose. I was like, I'm going to give you guys this one where you can get the bejesus out of it, and then next week you have nothing to enjoy.
I mean, the next one's going to be rough because it's going to be Bathurst.
Yes.
So that one is going to be just death.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it
That's all
next
about
week.
driving on the rails.
Good question.
Yep.
You go through turn 8, 9, and 10, or from turn 8 to set up for 9 and 10. For me personally, yes. Most of the time I get that wrong. I might get 8 right, but I mess up 9 and 10 for some reason. I don't know if it's a double apex, or I should be pushing out of 9, turn to 10.
Quick question: which car, first of all?
It doesn't matter too much car I'm driving, but in this series, I'm driving the Mercedes.
Okay. Now remember, each one of the cars will handle slightly differently, so an approach change might be necessary depending on if you've changed from car to car.
Okay. Well, so how would I approach it? Going into 8, 9, and 10. Because for me, I stay far right where his car is, and I kind of middle it, like pretty much how he has it, and then I brake at the 100-meter mark and try to keep it at gear 2 for 8, and start lining up for turn 9.
So do you exit wide on this one on 8? The exit
No, not
is causing...
wide. Oh, you're telling me. I'm sorry.
No, where's your prevent, like turn 8? Is it the exit or the entry that you're struggling the most with?
More often than not, I'll miss the apex for 8.
Okay.
So
if
I'm struggling in entry.
If you brake at the 100-meter board, this will be a Is it? I think I break it before. Yeah. If you break after the 100-meter board, that will probably be a bit too late, and that's why you're gonna run wide and miss the
Show him
apex
the
here.
line. Show him the white line on the road.
From above.
Psst. Michael. Yeah. Motherfucker's thick. And it's on both
Yep.
sides.
Yep. They are everywhere. They are on both sides here. Yeah, maybe try a tiny bit earlier, because if you mix this one a tiny bit, you'll run wide, and it happened to me to run wide on miss the apex here easily.
Okay.
It's,
There's one other thing I want to bring up here too. This will not be your place with cars, so you want to figure out a good up-braking point with cars around you too. Like chase someone out of the pits or something at HOP and get it ingrained in your brain where your braking needs to be with cars around you. Because I see so much death happening here because people 4 rows back are all trying to break at that white line, and that is not how it works.
yeah, not
So
on the start.
get that habit in your head. Like you got to be at a place where when you're following cars, that you need to know, like, oh shit, okay, I'm with cars. I'm breaking, 25 feet earlier.
Do you get the same level of grip out there as you would on the track, or is it slightly different?
On odd lap?
Yeah, where your car's placed.
No. He said on hot lap, but yes, on a hot lap, it's the same across the track anywhere. Now, in HOP, you might find a slight difference, but you can drive this wide, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't suck you out wide like on some tracks. Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
for Turner, Neil, I will try brake. If you brake tiny bit, check your replay. If you pass the 100-meter board, that's too late. Pass the 100-meter board from the inside, that will be too late, probably, sure.
It's also flat, and you're not turning in on the full corner width and like a few other things. So you're just making the entry wider so you can turn less when you get there. And so that's why you can use this area with less stress. Where in some tracks, it's like that area is where the middle is, or that corner's on the exit where the exit is, and so it can be a different load.
Yeah.
Neil, check your DM, please.
Okay. Sorry, I was about to message you because I just say it in chat. I'll be missing for the next 4 race for work. The next 4 Thursdays. This Thursday I wasn't even able to get any practice in because of work, and I missed the race because of family duties. But it happens, What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's all good. Just drop a sign out for the first 2 weeks, and then for the off season, you don't need to do anything. And then when we get back again, we'll start signing out again. It's all good.
I'll explain it between either Larry or yourself how my schedule is and why.
Yeah. No worries, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man, where no matter what it is, family, life, family, and then hobby, man. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reason I said something, Neil, is because what he was talking about was anticipating. And if you remember the old Heinz commercial, anticipation, it's making me wait while they're pouring the ketchup,
Oh my God, you're right. Oh
Yes,
Jesus,
okay.
that's the best thing ever. Oh.
Nobody ever gets the reference, but that's fucking hilarious.
Oh Jesus! Like as soon as you said that, I was like, anticipation. And like,
and
oh my God, you're right. Yeah. Oh fuck, dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you're okay. That's perfect. That's actually.
Oh man, I'm putting that in my meme folder for next week. That's gonna be great.
Yeah, but what he's basically saying is you can't really use the 100-meter board type thing when you have 4 cars in front of you, or even one. So you have to anticipate the guy in front of you. That's one of the reasons why it's not a bad idea to follow somebody at least a lap or two to know more where they're going to be braking into, if you're going to set up a pass or something like that. Because if you know, and this is not really for the dive bomb type thing, this is more of knowing when they're going to brake so that you can anticipate you're going to brake a tiny bit earlier than that and then roll through the corner and get back on the throttle before they do so that you get the better run out of the corner. That's kind of where I was going with that.
It's just this track's got so many of those corners like that, like 8, 9, 10, like just because you have to break early, like in sequence. People die quickly because like they'll do it once for 8 and they'll be like, now I never have to do it again, and then they kill themselves in 9 and 10 like 15 seconds later, and I'm like, oh.
Anybody else got any questions or anticipation things?
Yeah, can you repeat the breaking reference for corner 13?
Yes.
I know it's right after 12, but if there's any better point.
So
It's a lot of
pretty.
feel.
Yeah, this one just before the airplane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm using is when I get the car straight. So when the track is straightening up from this, so you still have the 100 millibars. I'm on brake right now.
I mean, the speed here is so crazy
no,
that sometimes
yes,
even if you're not
this one
easy.
is 13.
So I was talking to Ty about this on Friday, and I said, what's the purpose of turn 13? It's to get you prepared for turn 14. And so if you think about it as like a staging area for 14, then it's a little easier to get your mind around getting prepared for it because you're just getting braking done to get the car slowed down to get the car in line to approach 14, rather than as a corner you need to go quickly through.
Can we also look at it from above straight down, just to get an idea of where you are on track left to right?
Yeah, so this is 13, so I will use the yellow truck on the left side, like a little bit past this. So when I get the car straight and the track is straight, that's pretty much when I'm using it. You could also use the triangle on the right. Yeah, like here, triangle tracks. Yeah, the triangle on the left too, and the track is straight at this point.
Notice how he's not anywhere near the curb on the right. That's what he was talking about earlier. He uses a middle track approach to technically make the braking zone from the middle of the curb or just after a very long straight braking zone so that you're not putting a lot of steering angle in. He misses the curb here
This is
by not
12.
much.
This is 12, I think.
Right.
So it's not this one. It's
That's
the
the
next
one
one.
after.
Next one, I back up a little bit too much. So on this one here, I will miss the curve like by a lot.
And
Also,
what this does is this makes, notice how about here, he's going to brake right about here before that pole on the right hand side, the big tower here. That makes his braking zone from where he is aiming straight ahead to the next white line.
Yeah.
Out ahead of him, way out ahead before the next turn in. That's a very long straight braking zone right there.
And you'll see I'll brake and the car will still go on the left to prepare for the next one. So braking going on the left. See? Then I will lift the brake to finish the corner. Here.
And it's just the momentum and the amount of slight slide that he has. And it's not even really sliding. You can actually be driving the car and straighten the wheel up, and it lets the car veer off to the left-hand side. He's not forcing it to the left. The car naturally wants to go to the outside of the area.
yeah, if you practice this section 2, get prepared to practice getting the car set up for 14 as you do it. Like coast 13 so that you know what it feels like on coast if you've got cars right on your ass. Purposely get the car over to the left for 14 and then get it 3/4 over so you can defend for 14 without losing a lot of time. There's a lot of like maneuverability that you can set yourself up, especially when you're leading, that will deter cars from trying to dive on you. Because what you'll a lot of times see is you'll see someone bomb through 13 chasing a car, and then they're not anticipating for 14, and then they just throw it down the inside of 14 like as a Hail Mary pass. And if you're prepared for it, you can either avoid a crash or you can move your car over before they start to dive, and then they just jump on the brakes because they can't go anywhere to begin with.
Yeah, but I find that that corner so tricky because even if you're not easy on the steering wheel or the like your car can like spin or like somehow like I just get sideways here so
You're doing
easily.
100 miles an hour, right? So that's the
Yeah.
other thing. It's a really fast corner. But it's like if you think about it as a preparation for the corner where you're really braking to slow down, it kind of makes sense, right? It's one of those corners that because you're in a sim and not in a car, you don't get the G-force that says, "Hey, stupid, you're gonna die." So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
folks overspeed because they don't know what it feels like to slide through at 100 miles an hour. So they just kind of miss it or overspeed or off or other things, or it catches them out.
Well,
But
so
Say
this
you might want to make sure that you're not braking near the apex of that little bend. You need to be braking after the bend in the
mm-hmm.
at I guess what was it 13? Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also
Like I
you don't
said, when
want
the car is straight is when you want to brake.
exactly you don't want to brake while still turning the wheel because you're gonna spin for sure. Like that, and if I brake,
Yeah.
for some reason I did the line wrong, and I'll try to brake while turning, I will spin the car here because it's going so fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so far my breaking point was more when I would get straight here, but that
Yeah,
would depend on so many things. Sometimes even during the day when I would practice, I would mess up this one with the 12, like 13 with 12, thinking
Yeah.
that I'm on 12 and like I would just go straight or like not even break, you know?
Yeah,
The thing
yeah.
is like,
yeah, they are similar.
Yeah, and they all look the same too. And like it
Yeah,
also
yeah.
happens a lot where like cars are following you and they don't really have a point for where they brake or how to adjust. Like they're not thinking about what the purpose of this corner is. They're just kind of driving. And so then when you're setting up for the corner, they just run right to the back of you because they're not really being aware of where they are. So sometimes you have to like manage that car as you're approaching even 13 just to get them slowed down even beforehand so that you don't die.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Mikael, while we're here, can you just show us again the entrance to 14, please? After 13, then,
yeah,
just to get a better idea. From above, please.
sure. This will be 13. Cut on the curb. Open up the track. Yeah, be
Right.
careful on the track limit here.
And so, Devin, this is where you're talking where people will just try something, a miracle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because that's the slow speed braking where they're like, "Oh, I can beat him to the apex and get the car slowed down." Right? But because of the poor positioning in the corner before, they don't think about how much they're going to turn and how much their exit is trash. And because of the tightness of the corner, that trash exit really hurts you for a long, long, long time. So if you're aware of where the car behind you is before you start the sequence, you kind of know which ones are going to dive and which ones aren't,
Yeah,
and you can
exactly.
position ahead of time.
So
Yeah.
you sometimes might have to a preventive measure is maybe to take a little bit wider, unless you have the speed
Well,
around that
I'd
corner.
actually say the opposite. So, if you're
Close
having a
the
car that's
door a
going to
bit.
follow you, you want to close the door early, right? So you
Yeah.
come off of 13 and you just roll over to mid-track on
Okay.
14
Okay.
before you get on the brakes. It's a way to deter the car behind you from even trying. Because the moment your brake lights come on, that's when the car behind you is going to be like, "Oh, there's a space there for me. I'm going to go there." Right? He's braking now. He can't do anymore. He's braking. So that's when they'll throw it in. If you move over 3/4 of the track and hit the brakes wherever you hit the brakes, nobody will try to beat you there because you're already on the brakes. And so it's a sign to the
Yeah.
driver
Yeah.
behind. You're
Okay.
too late now. Don't try it now. I'm braking.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're also trying to figure out, well, wait a minute, he's not on the wide part of the track, he's more inside. What do I do?
What do I do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that extra factor of, hey, wait a minute, he's not on the racing line.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be there, so it'll stop him. Even if you're just lightly on the brakes, just initially, just to get your lights to come on, that's enough. Because the driver behind you doesn't know how hard you're braking; they just know that you're braking. So you get on the brakes a little earlier, you get on the brakes so the lights come on, and then you brake where you normally would brake. You're already going a little slower anyway, so it still gives you the outcome you're looking for: defense
Okay.
and a signal to the guy behind, "Hey, stupid, don't go here."
I did that in Alton Park. that you killed 2 people behind you that you were messing around with on hop, and you just
Yeah.
have the brakes just to like come on, and they thought you braked, and you just
Yeah.
were like, nope,
Nope.
psych.
And then you
Nope.
laughed about it too.
Yep. I
I
totally
was on
did.
track when you did it.
Yeah, I totally did, and I'll continue to do that. Like, because I know where I am on track, and you not knowing where you are on track is not my problem. So I will do that to people all the time. Of like, hey man, if I'm not on the racing line and you're coming up on me, that should be a sign to brake early, no matter what. Literally, physics says you can't fit next to me, so don't go here. So it shouldn't matter what my car is doing. So by me
I
getting
just,
on the lights on, you're focusing on the wrong thing, and you crash. That's on you.
I just, I wish you would have streamed that you were a streamer, because then I would have clipped it, because it was hilarious, because I
Yeah.
was on track as well, and out of nowhere I just heard your evil laugh, your
Yeah.
notorious evil
Well,
laugh, and I was like, wait, what just happened?
yeah.
And then you explained it, and that was it, game
Yeah,
over.
yeah. Well, that's what the walkthroughs I think are helpful, right? Like you knowing where you are on the track gives you authority to make the move you need to make, right? Because it's like you're not alongside someone, you're not squeezing them off the road, you're not turning in on them, you're not brake checking them, you're not doing any of those things. You're just braking a little early, not on the optimum line. And if folks don't know their shapes, like I did a big thing on the Rookie Debrief last week about knowing your shapes. If you don't know what shape of corner this is and you do something dumb, that is on you for driving a car. So you need to know what the shape of the corner looks like. So,
Anybody else got anything? Questions, answers, anticipations?
making me wait.
I watched the commercial just now. That was fucking
Yeah, I
hilarious.
know. I swear, man, I'm gonna be in lines humming that song for a week now.
All right. Quick question for anybody that's here who might want to jump onto HOP. Do you know the track well enough to drive it in the dark? Yes or no?
I did
Absolutely
it
not.
once, and I did not do very well. I didn't do horribly, but not very well. I did it once in the dark, at night. Sorry.
Anybody else?
Nope.
I
I
do,
think the
but
last
it's
time
not
was
fast.
Well, I tried the track early this morning just to practice for half an hour or so. That was fine.
Okay, now the reason I asked because Javier has asked if we could go to a random server, and if anybody wants to practice in the daylight to get used to the track, it would be a good idea, because driving at night and learning a track is kind of like driving in the rain and learning the track. It doesn't really it's not very cohesive for learning. So if you want, we're going to try and find a random server that has Misano, and we can see if we can put some laps in for a little bit.
Okay. Mikael, thank you very much. Again, it was very informative. So, merci beaucoup.
Thank you much, sir.
yeah.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
There it is, guys.